y'all? My name's Jess. I'm an EF Ultimate Break brand ambassador, and today I'm reviewing their Grand Tour of Ireland. So let's get into it. Cue intro. Before we get started, if you're unfamiliar, EF Ultimate Break is a group travel company that specializes in trips for people ages 18 all the way to 35, and they do all the heavy lifting for you. Each trip price includes things like flights if you opt in, accommodations, transportation to and from cities, a full-time tour director, breakfast every day, metro passes, tickets to iconic attractions, guided city walks, and so much more. I personally have been to 16 countries with the company thus far, which literally blows my mind every single time I say that. And with that, if you're looking to book your first EF Ultimate Break trip, be sure to do so through the link in the description box. That's going to activate my promo code UAJessMannery100, which will give you an additional $100 off on top of sale prices. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the details. The Grand Tour of Ireland hits 1 country and 4 cities over the course of 9 days. The activity level for this trip is low, which essentially means there is going to be a lot of sightseeing, and while there will be walking, it's nothing you can't handle. This trip comes in 2 different types, that is Essential and Plus. Essential is going to be more of your hostel-like accommodations, so there will be more of you per room. And that Plus type of trip is going to be those upgraded accommodations with only 2 people per room and some additional meals included. Now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's get into the day-to-day recaps. Day 1 is super easy because that is your travel day, so you're going to board your overnight flight to Dublin, Ireland. Depending on where you're coming from, that can be a pretty quick flight across the pond. On day 2, you're going to land in Dublin, Ireland, and hopefully have some time to decompress and explore before you get into the day's activities. This day is pretty lax. You're going to have some time before you check into your first accommodation. For me, that was the Generator Dublin. Now, while this is a hostel-like accommodation, I absolutely love the Generator. I thought it was super clean, super fun. There's a great social environment there, so if you're looking to make friends, that is a great place to do it. And it doesn't hurt that it is pretty much attached to the Jameson Distillery on Bow Street, which is super phenomenal, highly recommend, but we'll get to that later. After checking in and having some time to freshen up, the entire group got together and we went to our welcome dinner. Now, our welcome dinner was at Nancy Hand's Tavern, and we had the most amazing Irish stew, chef's kiss. But as I'm sure you all know, when you are spending a lot of time traveling, you are absolutely exhausted. So truthfully, after this, we went back to our hostel. We had a drink or 2 with our group, started to get to know people, and then it was time for us to hit the hay because we had a long day ahead of us for day 3. On day 3, we got up bright and early to hit breakfast and then head out for a day of exploring. This was going to be our guided city tour. The first stop of the day was to Pope's Cross, which is amazing to see in person. From there, we went over to St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is absolutely jaw-dropping in person. The stained glass is unreal. The architecture is just absolutely stunning. Highly recommend if you are headed to the city of Dublin. While the remainder of our group went on to do a couple more stops on the tour, me and a few friends opted to kind of make the afternoon our own. Our first stop after St. Patrick's Cathedral was the Black Forge Inn, which is Conor McGregor's upscale lounge. And when I tell you the food was amazing, the cocktails were phenomenal, I could not recommend this place enough for lunch or dinner. Side note, if you're looking for a recommendation, the Bangers and Mash, 10 out of 10. From there, we bebopped over to the Guinness Storehouse and spent quite a few hours exploring every floor. There is truly so much to see in there, and I was amazed by all of the different exhibits that they had. I am not a beer girly. I typically don't like drinking beer at all, but when I tell you Guinness tastes so different in Ireland than it does in the States. It doesn't have that bitter aftertaste, and it's actually quite delicious. So we even got to hand pour our own Guinness in the storehouse. They have a marketing floor. There are just so many unique things in there that you can't find anywhere else. Even if you're not somebody that's a beer drinker, I would still highly recommend the attraction. I think it was so fascinating. From there, we went straight to the Jameson distillery, which, as I noted before, was attached to our hostel, which was incredibly convenient. We learned about the history of Jameson and even got to taste some of their more popular whiskeys that you can only get in Ireland. After we went home and freshened up and changed our clothes, me and a few friends went to a dinner reservation at Pichet. This is a French-Irish bistro, and when I tell you the food was astronomically delicious, like 10 out of 10, probably my favorite meal of my entire time in Ireland. I would highly recommend checking it out if you're looking for a little bit more of an upscale dinner. And then, of course, when you're in Dublin, you have to check out Temple Bar. In my own personal opinion, I definitely think it's overrated, but it's beautiful and it's a must-see, even if you're just walking by. It's stunningly gorgeous and decorated beautifully. But if you want a good night out that has a little bit more affordable cocktails and a better entertainment environment, I actually recommend going to Quay's Bar. On day 4, we woke up early and we were headed to Kilkenny. There we checked into the Kilford Arms Hotel, which was a quaint little hotel tucked into the middle of the city center. I personally think that this hotel had my favorite breakfast of the tour, so I highly recommend you take advantage of those free breakfasts every day. The rooms were quite historical, but I actually really liked them. After we checked in, we went out for a walking tour, and our first stop was the Kilkenny Castle. I am somebody that loves seeing castles while I'm abroad. I just think their architecture is so beautiful in comparison to a lot of the things that we have in the States. And this one was no different. Their garden was one of the most beautiful gardens I think I've ever seen in my life. It had stunning fountains and flowers everywhere, and the greenery was just so bright and vibrant. The rooms were decorated in gold and velvet, and it was just absolutely stunning. From there, we had lunch at Keitler's Inn, which is a little medieval pub restaurant. The food itself was really phenomenal though, I will say, and 10 out of 10 would go back the next time I'm there. From there, we took a walk over to the Butler House and Garden, and at the time that we were there, they had this little fairy trail in the garden where there were these little fairy spots under bushes and on trees, and it was just really, really cool. I'm not sure if this is something that they do year round or if this was just a seasonal thing, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But nonetheless, even if it's not there, the Butler Garden was stunning. Later on in the afternoon, we went to Mauser's Pub for a hurling lesson, and this was one of the coolest experiences of my entire time in Ireland. I have to give mad props to hurling players because it is no joke. After a fun afternoon lesson, we got to go inside, hear some live music, and have some drinks with our new friends. On day 5, on our way to Killarney, we stopped at the Blarney Castle for an afternoon of exploring. Yes, you have to kiss the Blarney Stone, and no, the locals do not pee on it. At least that's what the tour guide said. The Blarney Castle grounds are absolutely huge, so I'm going to give you 2 of my recommendations personally to see during your day trip there. Number 1 is the Poison Gardens. Now, I personally am a huge Harry Potter fan, and in the Poison Garden, there were quite a few of the plants that they used in the books and movies, so I thought that was really cool to check out. Number 2 is the Fern Garden that quite literally looks like it was pulled out of Jurassic World. And side note, if you are looking for authentic wool pieces to take home, this is the perfect place to purchase those. The Blarney Woolen Mills are actually on the property, so you can get sweaters, scarves, things of that nature to take home with you. I myself got a sweater and I absolutely love it. Super high quality, affordable price. Definitely purchase your wool there if you're looking to take some home. That same day, we made it to Killarney and we checked into the Earl's Courthouse Hotel. Really liked this hotel. I thought the rooms were spacious. The bathrooms were also huge as well, which is definitely a plus if you're a girl trying to get ready. And it was in a great central location to everything else we wanted to do. Since we had such a long day, we wanted to do something kind of low-key, get a good dinner, and then get to bed. So we actually went to the tap room at Killarney Brewing, and they have a ton of different brews and pizzas to choose from, and their pizzas are super unique and not like anything you would typically find in the States. On day 6, we got up super early because we had a ton to do, and first up was a carriage ride through Killarney National Park. Now, fun fact, cars are actually not allowed in Killarney National Park, so you either bike, walk, or ride a carriage if you want to go through and explore. We saw so many beautiful sights. We saw some deer out in the wild, some swans. It was just stunning. Killarney National Park is one of those places that doesn't seem real unless you're standing in it. It is truly that beautiful. Then it was time for us to do our Ring of Kerry tour, which was so fun. And the first stop was the Red Fox Inn in the Kerry Bog Village. The Red Fox Inn is an amazing place to get a good Irish coffee. The Kerry Bog Village is an open-air museum that focuses on the history of Ireland. They sit right next to each other, and while it was a quick stop, I feel like we learned a lot and we still had a ton of fun. Then we took the infamous loop around the Ring of Kerry to see all of the beautiful sights. Ireland is jaw-droppingly beautiful, and if you want to see that for yourself in person, the Ring of Kerry is where you need to go. Along our Ring of Kerry tour, we stopped at the Scariff Inn for lunch, and I had myself an authentic shepherd's pie. And when I tell you it hits different in Ireland, it hits different in Ireland. After returning back to the hotel, we got freshened up and then we went out to a Celtic step show. This show was at the Killarney racetrack, and when I tell you it was the most lively, entertaining show, I could not stop smiling and singing along and clapping the entire time we were there. In fact, I think our entire group was like dancing in our seats along with them. From there, quite a few of the people in our group went to the Grand Nightclub to have an evening of dancing, and honestly, it was such a blast. On day 7, we started on our way to Galway with a stop at the Cliffs of Moher. Again, as somebody that loves Harry Potter, if you know, you know. But this is truly one of the most jaw-dropping places in the world. Around every twist and turn, there was just another beautiful view. And I truly think I could have sat there and just basked in the beauty all day. Typically, the crowd goes to the left to get their pictures, but I went all the way down to the right. And when I tell you the photo spot was, that's my little treat for you. Upon arriving in Galway, we checked into the Kinley Hostel. This hotel was actually super nice. It was really spacious. The rooms were clean. We actually had Netflix on our TV, which was phenomenal. And the beds were really comfy. From there, we went out to get dinner at Beef and Lobster, and this place specializes in both. They don't do a lot of anything else, but when I tell you the steak was cooked to perfection, 10 out of 10. On day 8, our last full day in Galway, 90% of the group went to the Aran Islands for a day trip. Now, the Aran Islands are absolutely beautiful, and there is a ton of history. If you're looking for something to do that will fill your day, that is a great place to go. At the end of that day, we had our farewell dinner, and it was time to get ready to go home. This is always my least favorite part of tour, but it's never a goodbye. It's always an I'll see you later. This trip was easily one of my favorites that I've ever done with EF Ultimate Break. The views were unmatched, the people were a blast, and the memories will surely last me a lifetime. That concludes the day-to-day recaps, but we're not done with the video. I asked you to send me your burning questions on the Grand Tour of Ireland trip, so we're gonna get into those answers now. Question number 1, what do you suggest packing for the summer months? That's a great question. So first, I think we'll get into the travel essentials to have with you, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the clothes that I packed. So for my travel essentials, obviously you're going to want a travel adapter and a travel converter. Those are non-negotiable, especially if you're a girly that has electronics and or someone that likes to do their hair with hot tools. Another essential I would say is you're definitely gonna need a good umbrella. The weather in Ireland is wishy-washy, so just making sure that you have one on hand is never, ever, ever a bad thing. A portable charger is also a must. There are long days when you are not at the hotel, so if you're gonna wanna have pictures and videos and be able to contact whoever you need to contact, definitely be sure to have a portable charger with you. I personally have an extensive travel must-haves list. I will link that in the description below so you can go check out the full list. But I take 99.9% of those items on every single trip that I do. As for clothes, it's definitely up in the air. Depending on where you are in Ireland and what month you're there, the weather is absolutely gonna vary. For example, I wore this outfit in Ireland. So this is just a button-down shirt that I threw a sweater vest over. I had a lot of different variations of these. Also highly recommend packing a rain jacket just in the event that the weather takes a turn. And I am always a huge advocate for comfortable walking shoes. While this isn't a high activity tour, there's definitely a lot of walking, particularly for the day trips to like Blarney Castle, the Aran Islands, things of that nature. So definitely bring comfy walking shoes. I packed my Air Force Ones. They're personally comfortable for me. Some other people may not agree. And then I also had a pair of combat boots. I will say I went in August. It was in the 60s and low 70s when I was there, but the nights were definitely chilly. But at no point was I like freezing cold. Number 2 is how much spending money should I bring? If you've ever been on an EF Ultimate Break trip, you would know that they recommend bringing $80 to $100 per day. And if I'm completely honest with you, I feel like that's really accurate. When I go on vacation, I'm really an all-out type of girly, and I'm not an all-out type of girly in like the souvenir type of way, more in the experience type of way. So I'm for sure gonna be eating good, and I love to indulge in unique experiences. So that's what I prioritize when I'm abroad. I really think it depends on what kind of spender you are. So if you're somebody that's gonna need a lot more souvenirs, you wanna buy souvenirs for your whole family, definitely up that budget. But I would say I stay true to probably the higher end of that $100 per day abroad. Number 3, what extra excursions did you do? The first was definitely the Guinness Storehouse. So while this was offered by our tour director, me and a couple friends did it on our own because we wanted to spend a little bit extra time there than the group was allotted. The Jameson Distillery was also something that we opted to do on our own, but I would highly recommend it. Another one was the Celtic Step Show, and I would 1,000% recommend this to you if it's offered on your tour. It was just such a unique evening, and it was so much fun. And then the 4th one was the carriage ride through Killarney National Park. It was so beautiful. You absolutely cannot miss it. Number 4, how many baby Guinnesses did you drink? If I'm honest with you, not that many. And I think that's because I really just opted to drink Guinness in general, which again, I am not a beer girly, and I certainly don't ever like dark beers, but Guinness in Ireland hits different and tastes different. Baby Guinnesses are really good though. Number 5, do you have any tips for going solo? Absolutely, I am here to help. Just as you would any other tour, go in with an open mind. You don't have to be incredibly extroverted to make friends on these trips. Join in on group activities, extend a hand out to somebody there. Be yourself and you will find your people. I know going solo seems intimidating. I did it on my first tour, but I can promise you, you will make like-minded friends. Prime example of that was exhibited during this trip. So back in 2019, I did my first EF Ultimate Break trip, and I met a phenomenal group of friends on that tour. 2 of my besties from that first trip joined me all these years later to go on the Grand Tour of Ireland. If you're looking to book, be sure to do that through the link in the description box. Again, that's going to activate my promo code UAJustMannering100, which will give you an additional $100 off on top of sale prices. Number 6, what was your favorite city? This is such a hard question for me, and I think it's so difficult because each city was so different. For example, I really loved the activities in Dublin. I thought that was the most fun in terms of the things to do. But in terms of like beauty and being in awe, I would absolutely say Killarney. I will for sure be returning to all of the above cities because I just want to get some more time there. But those 2 are definitely my favorites. Number 7, what kind of souvenirs did you bring home? So as I stated before, I'm not really a souvenir type of girly, but I made an exception in Ireland. My family is from Ireland, so I took that as a sign to bring a couple extra things home. 2 of which are on my hands. The first one is this beautiful clotter ring. So I've had a gold one my whole life, but I am a silver girly and not a gold girly, so I opted to get one of my own while I was there. And the second is this beautiful shamrock ring that has emeralds in the center. I'm absolutely obsessed with it, and I wear both of them every single day of my life, so definitely say they were good investment. Another fun thing that my boyfriend and I brought home was a distillery edition of Jameson. Now, it can only be purchased at the distillery in Dublin, so this was just super fun to take home, and we bring it out for special occasions. I also told y'all that I bought a wool sweater at the Blarney Woolen Mills, and I would highly recommend doing so if you're interested in having an authentic wool piece. It was definitely affordable for the quality that you get, and it's held up really nicely. Also got my dad an Ireland rugby shirt, and I got my mom some coffee mugs because she loves coffee. Number 8, how much did you pack? Girl, I am a perpetual overpacker. that is always going to be me. If you are someone that can pack in a carry-on and only take a carry-on, God bless you and power to you. It just simply could not be me. I had a checked bag, a rolling carry-on, and a backpack, but my backpack had all of my electronics in it, my cameras, my GoPro, things of that nature. But if you are someone that's capable of packing light, you can definitely do it on this trip with just packing layers. Believe it or not, I was not the only person that had 3 bags with me. Quite a few other people on our trip did too, which I was honestly shocked about. But I would just rather have everything that I need rather than having to go out and try to find the things that I need. So I would say it really, really depends on you. That's all for your burning questions thus far, but if you have any more questions, be sure to leave those in the comments down below. I am happy to answer them for you. That's all for this trip review, but there are plenty more where that came from, so be sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to check out my other trip reviews that I already have posted, but more are coming in the future. Until next time, bye!